Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. So, I haven't made any moves today. We're just going to make them as we go. Sometimes I make them before the video. Today we're going to make them... Oh, it's Horde. I'm sort of in love with Horde. I mean, it's sort of like being in the early days of chess, isn't it? When you were just discovering this thing called the Sicilian defence, or just discovering, like, the early ideas in the opening. Because chess is so advanced now and so deeply analysed, particularly at the top levels. But I don't know much about Horde. I mean, here's what I think about Horde. Here's what I think. I noticed that Horde coach played something like the rook's pawn here when going to the fifth wasn't allowed. And if we play it now, then if he bypasses, we can take twice, with the pawn and the queen here. So I think we're going to do this to try and open up the rook's file, but I don't have a clue what I'm doing. But Horde's fun, right? And Horde coach knows what he's doing. Here, so this knight's come out, so I've tried to keep the rook's pawn close. Can't I just push and hit the knight with tempo? Where's that knight going? Isn't it going back home? It's going back home, right? Maybe I've missed something. I do miss things. This one, I'm going to look in the book. No game found. Okay, so as Stuart, they usually play c5, but Stuart's not. Stuart's preparing c5. Okay, so he's going to transpose, isn't he? So when they play c5, fd1, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since you're preparing c5, I'm going to prepare c5 as well. Because basically the same's happening. You're putting your rook opposite your queen, aren't you? Waiting for that to open up. Solid and sensible. Okay, this, I'm taking the queen. I mean, it's a queen. You've got to take it. It's a very sharp and complex position. I think what's happened here is my opponent has said, I'm a pawn up. So I'm going to abandon my kingside attack. We're just going to play an endgame. Now, white usually has the better endgames in these King's Indian positions, but there is a whole pawn's difference, and the question is, can I win that pawn back? Because white's got more space. And the answer is, I don't really know. My pieces aren't that active. Shall I just decline the swap? What would it look like to decline the swap? Let's just do some lines and see what would happen. So takes, let's say the rook takes. Well, actually, I think knight takes is probably better. Knight takes is, black's just better, right? I mean, push, threatening the pin. There. What is black's problem here? Black does not have a problem. So I think I've got to refuse that swap, which is kind of embarrassing. It kind of just destroys my whole strategy. So here, when I went here, I think black's just evicting me from that, and I think I've just got to take that on the nose. So I go back. I think I'm going to back off the queen, and I'm even going to basically offer a repetition, what boils down to a repetition, because the queen's not going to want to stay there. Do we think? Come on, I think we just got to do it. We are chickening out of that exchange, because I think we're just in a bad place. Keith, good old Keith. By the way, 2 people have written to me and said they're enjoying the series. That's really nice for me. It means a lot. One person wrote and said there's nothing else like it on the internet, which I'm sure there isn't. It's just like, let's watch someone basically losing at chess. Okay, more on that later. So I reckon 2 of these games have gone pear-shaped. One of them is totally pear-shaped, and the other one is pear-shaped. And when I'm not saying which 2, because it's for the other player to work out. But when I lost against Ian, I sort of said there's 4 options. I can give up chess, I can give up the Sicilian defence, I can give up accepting the Smith-Morra. But actually, what this is all teaching me is I've got to give up bullet. I'm playing so much bullet at the moment. And some of the moves I'm playing are actually like bullet moves, which are kind of like... And it doesn't work in Correspondence to play like that. Like, you just pay for it. And actually, I'm letting you into a little secret now. One of the reasons I started this whole series was to get myself out of the bullet habit, because I just said, well, if I put correspondence games... I mean, A, it's nice to keep in touch with friends, really, really nice. And I've struggled to keep in touch with friends at Cumnor because of children and work and stuff. So, but also, putting correspondence games on the internet trains you to actually be disciplined and think about them and not play loads of bullet. And it's not a lesson I've quite learned, but I'm about to lose a couple of games in here, I think, quite badly, and that will help me to, I'm going to learn the lesson painfully. Check. Isn't this winning material? I think I'm claiming this is winning material, because I'm claiming that king is short and squares. But maybe that was always happening here, because I think maybe that was always happening here. Because the knight has to move, and then this check's unpleasant. I mean, I'm actually wondering if it's not going to go check, rook in the way, check. Probably king here, Keith. Check. I don't know. Check. Something like this, right? So I'm lucky this has turned out well. It was a King's Indian, wasn't it? King's Indian. Yeah, it's interesting, King's Indian. There was a bit of dance here. I think I gained a tempo or two. I think there was... and there was a clever tactic in the middle, which actually didn't lose any material, but may have given me a positional advantage. There was this tactic where there was a sacrifice on e4, which didn't lose material for black, but it may have just weakened black's king, right? I think that's the theory. Check. Okay, this one from Liam. So check. So if you move here, pawn takes, threatens checkmate there. I suppose you can get out of it like this. Grovel, grovel. Bishop takes. Not looking good. So pawn takes. So if the pawn takes, and you take back, then that knight check there looks pretty terminal, doesn't it? I mean, it's just horrendous. So what that means is it's check. That means we can't move our king. That means we have to sacrifice the exchange and take the knight. And just, spoiler alert, I'm not delighted with this prospect, but otherwise I think you just lose on the spot. And that's, not if I'm going to lose, I'm not going to lose on the spot. And it's going to take as long as possible. This one, do I take that rook? I think we want to swap off a pair of rooks, don't we? Do we? Good question. So this I thought was quite a losing endgame. I made a mistake on the theory. Well, I don't think it's losing. I think it's worse. I think black's worse. But I think this is helping me. I think I want one pair of rooks on for this endgame. And by the way, I'm not giving up at all. I'm not giving up. But I think black is just literally a bit worse because the pawns are so weak. But these pawns aren't currently really accessible. It's going to be pawn takes. You can't have king takes there, can you? Oh, but well, funny thing is that actually opens the file for the rook, so maybe we don't do that. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe we keep this closed, the C file closed. Just march forward with the king. Why not? Let's change our mind. That's what the mind is for, right? Gary's taken my rook. So there was a beautiful combo here. Interesting combo where Gary sacked 2 manas for a rook and 2 pawns, which is materially equal. Taking a rook there, I think I've got to take it back. I actually fancy my chances here. I fancy the 2 pieces versus rook and 2 pawns, but materially it's dead equal. So who's got a positional advantage? No one knows. I think it's quite even. It's quite interesting. Queen here next, maybe. Get the queens off, try and play the endgame. See if some of these pawns might end up weak. We'll see. Okay, this is interesting. Attacking my bishop. I think I move the bishop, pinning the pawn against the king. Could that be good? Could this little compact group of pawns cause some trouble for black? I don't think black can do anything awful to me in the short term. Submit. This is Nick. Look, this rook's attacked. Look at this. Defend the rook. Oh no, sacrifices the queen for the rook. Check. And black can resign. So what that means is we can't defend this rook. So what that means is the rook's got to move. And where's it going to move to? Where's it going to move to? Here. It's going to move to here. We're going to pretend we've got some attacking chances against the white king. And it's not going to fool Nick. It's not going to fool any. It might fool some people. It's not going to fool Nick. Who's the main person I need to fool? Yeah, I'm attacking your king, Nick. I'm attacking that G pawn that's defended by 2 pawns and a king with my rook. I'm threatening h4. I've not convinced myself. The point is, the rook's not got a happy home because I don't want to bring it back because they'll get hit by the pawn as the pawn marches on to glory. Also, don't tell anybody, but I want to take twice here, which will leave me with a losing endgame, but not losing as quickly as I currently am. Nick's a good player. This Nigel has taken. I haven't seen this move before. I mean, you've got to believe we're taking back, haven't you? I've got to look at these in advance. I mean, again, Nigel's a very experienced player. I mean, I think if you take back, let's just have a little look and see if this is what to be afraid of. So, what to be afraid of is the sort of attack on the king's side. It's not breaking through, I don't think. And the exchange sacrifice here, no fork here. To be honest, I mean, if you don't take back with the pawn, what's happening? It's just a nightmare. You can't take here. I mean, you can do quirky things like attack the rook, but then white can just defend it, sort of with tempo. I mean, clearly, yeah, let me take on f1 would be a bit of an error, although it's not mate, the knight can block, but you know, Nigel's not going to do that, ever. I think I'm just taking this, but I'm doing it instinctively, but you know. Look at Nigel's grade, 2377. These guys have got really good grades. Okay. Next. Okay, so do we take straight back or do we take the bishop? Why don't we take the bishop? Why don't we take the bishop and double the pawns? I think we're out of book here. Take the bishop, double the pawns, take the pawn. Isn't that better? And isn't that knight kind of quite nice there? It's quite hard to remove. Slightly better pawn structure. Why didn't black take my bishop? Don't understand. I mean, I don't think this is a winning move or anything. I just think it's a slight improvement of my structure, and it means the knight can kind of last. I mean, and we just check. There's absolutely no value in doing this. You just do this and save the bishop or something. I mean, black's never doing that. So I think my instinct is to take the bishop. But again, this is the first time I've even seen this move. So for those who are joining the series late, this started from symmetric English. We both fianchettoed. I started moving on the queen side, got b4 in, then expanding in the centre, e3. Feigned an attack on the king's side, black blocked it. I'm going to take the bishop. And I'm going to claim I have a slight positional advantage, but I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose the good news here for black is, well, I think I'm a bit better there actually, honestly. Gareth. Oh, that's so complicated, Gareth. Gareth's very good at tactics. There's a video of at least two of his games on the site. One against the Grandmaster where he won beautifully in a simul, and one where he won a Grunfeld, the white side of a Grunfeld, in the Kidlington tournament. So, okay, so the rook's hit. So I'm going to move the rook, and then I'm worried about that loose some tactics involving that loose bishop on h6. I suppose the question is, should I be talking about the games? Maybe, I don't know what to do. I mean, is this unfair? Knight there. I get a bishop, he gets a rook, I get a rook. We're okay, aren't we? We're still okay. So that bishop moving isn't really... It's not really... I think this is the best square. Rook's not vulnerable there, is it? No sacrifices on g6, it's well defended. I think we can afford to just move that rook. Where else is it going? It's not going there, it's not going there. It's got to go somewhere. It's got to go there. Okay, confirm for now. Here, okay. So, Estnatic. Oh, this is the chap who's the Horde expert. Top 50 Horde players. He's really good at Horde. He's really good at normal chess too. So we are... I think it was a Grunfeld I played. I think one of the premises of this series is that the Grunfeld and the Najdorf equalise. I think I might have, in some cases, got a move or two wrong, but yeah, that's the idea. Okay, so I think the idea here was we take the queens off, right? I mean, well, let's have a look at a check here. What's the check do? Put a bishop in the way, so what? Well, I suppose... No. We're taking the queens off. So this is the line I expected. Takes, rook here. And I think this pawn's coming off. Rook here, pawn here. I think that pawn's coming off. I mean, what if this happened? Is there a horrible check at the back which causes me some massive discomfort? Horrible check at the back. Moves. Well, it's fine. Well, oh, so this would be unpleasant. Well, it wouldn't be that unpleasant. You put the rook here, but also the bishop's pinned for now. So I think we just play b6, and it's not pretty, but actually we've got a slightly nicer pawn structure. So I think we're claiming we're okay here. So we're taking. Queen takes queen. This... Oh, this is Justin. He's really good. Knight h4. b3. Should we just play b3 and keep our knight in the centre? After knight h4, isn't it just bishop h7? Yeah. Yeah, I don't quite understand what that achieves, frankly. And then rook opposite queen. Queen. Okay. I don't really want the knight on h4. I just want to play b3 and I want to just support. So it's a very solid manoeuvring game. I've got to think quite hard about this. But white hasn't really got any weaknesses. I suppose when you got the bishop fianchetto, this pawn looks a little bit weak. Alright. Look at this. Pertz against Ian. e46, d4. Pre-moved, expecting d4. Right, so, okay, I've got 3 games going against Ian. So what you don't play here is bishop d3, Liam, because they play e5. I beat Liam on the black side of this. We had a really nice game, actually. I surprised him with a theoretical novelty. But I think the point is, after bishop d3, they play e5. So I think your option is you got to really play. Are some of the top players playing something? I suppose. Did they never play bishop c4? Maybe that's a different. Maybe not here. Don't they? What on earth is this? Queen h5 check. The mind absolutely boggles. Okay, we won't be getting involved in any of that stuff. We're going to play knight c3. And we're not going to play f3 because we're going to reserve the right to move our pawn to f4, the so-called Austrian attack. It's like being with someone who can read your mind. It's really weird. Okay, this is the Russian game. I'm playing this against Ian in a hope that I can survive for more moves than I did against the Mora. d6. The Petrov, which is very good for static equality. We're giving ourselves more time as well. Pawn d6. You can take here, but I don't think Ian will. I don't think it's a good idea in correspondence. It's quite good in rapid, it's fine, if you know what you're doing. It's Cochrane Gambit, is it called? The Cochrane Gambit? It's very interesting that that's possible. But Ian's not doing that. Nope, he's not doing that. I know exactly what Ian's doing. My best guess is this is what Ian will be doing. He goes there, I take there, and then he goes knight c3, which is a very popular contemporary move. Takes, and then tries to whip up an attack. I go bishop e7. Then I don't know what he does. Probably bishop e3, castle long, and then attempt to muller me. I'm not saying I'm going to make these moves. This is just the main line. Queen d7, keep an open mind. King b1. I think there was recently a very sharp game. Fabiano Caruana as white played this against someone in the FIDE World Cup. Beautiful game, extremely sharp. Maybe I'll look it up, but then I think white won. So not that interesting to me. Okay, so my next move would be to take that pawn, because if I don't take it, he's going to consolidate. So shall I just be honest and take it? There's no other move for black. Just play d3 otherwise. Yeah! I mean, did I say that? Did I not say that? And I think you've got to take it. Have you got to take it? Then you could call this the Stafford Gambit reversed. Aren't I funny? So the point is, do people know what the Stafford Gambit is? The Stafford Gambit is where black does something like this. Just see if we can do it from the beginning. The Stafford Gambit goes like this, and it's not sound particularly, but I wouldn't recommend playing it. But you know, it's something that people play, and there's quite a lot of it played in Blitz and Bullet. So black plays this, white takes, and then black goes like this. Takes, and you play here, and there's lots of quite flashy tactics, but it's basically unsound, I think. So this is a bit of a Stafford Gambit reverse, but this is very sound, and it's very, you know, the elite players play it. It's like, look, knight f6, you get more decisive games. You can play knight f6, which I think would be the move that would annoy Ian, because he likes a proper game of chess. None of this sort of, you know, inhibiting the other person's plans. Okay, that's the game we're just in. This has come off, this has come off. Gareth, Nigel. Are there any more? There is, hang on. Okay, I think there are other games going on. There must be. Maybe not. Oh, there's Tom. But it's Tom's move. Is that all of them? Could be, couldn't it? That's quite fun. Okay, so one of these games I'm totally busted in. Would someone clever like to write in the comments which one I'm totally busted in? I know the question is, maybe that spoils it. I don't know what the rules are on all this stuff. Let's just have fun with it, eh? I don't think it's too uptight. So the players might not want to read the comments, but I think we've got to have fun with it. This very nice person said that they're enjoying the series, and they're better at tactical puzzles than me, and wants to play. So we're going to play. We're going to accept this game. I'm white, and I really appreciate the positive feedback. And what am I going to do? Pawn d4. I was playing c4 on the other games on the basis that e5 is a good move, and if a Sicilian equalises, then a Sicilian reverse just gives you an advantage. But I'm going to play d4 now. You've got to stay flexible, right? I'm staying flexible. And then what we're going to have to do, we're going to have a quick look at chess.com, because I'm organising a tournament on chess.com, which is trucking along. We're burning through. There's lots of interesting things happening. So, look. Too much bullet. Not good. Okay. So, hang on. No, it's come as bullet, you see. It's so natural. It actually makes me feel unwell. Where are my daily games? Here. Okay, so this one, this is theory, right? So this is a really nice Queen's Gambit decline theory, the Vienna variation. So you accept here, and actually I'm gambiting another pawn, a bit like in the it's a bit like in the Italian game, isn't it? I castle, black takes, so I've got to take back, haven't I? But white gets a big initiative out of this, just like in the Italian. It's funny. Okay, and also it sort of has a European theme. Next. Look, I'm playing these games which are just literally rooks rule. It's just rooks. I've developed both my rooks in front. What would you do here? I don't know, I've got to think about that. Let's come back to that. It's just a great way to practice rook endgames. We're not going to do those today, but I'm thinking about it. I think this one I'm a bit better, look. Put my rook here. And I think rook here, rook there, you take the pawn, you win a pawn. Or rook here, you don't want to take that, do you? And then I think c5, you just move the rook. So I think we've got an advantage there. Josh Latosh, this is one of my neighbours who's challenged me. I think that's a bit early to be taking the tension out of the centre. I think I'm going to castle. I hope all's well, Josh, and you're enjoying your dogs. Those are his dogs in the picture. This one, beautiful opening, kind of crazy. Went like this. Won a knight, check. And then after f4 you can take the pawn. White took here, takes, rook there. Okay, so wouldn't it be nice to put a knight here? But I think we are 2 pieces up, so we're in good shape here. This is my tournament. Show the world your chess skill. I'm leading my group. It would be embarrassing to get knocked out in the first round, wouldn't it? But you know, everything's possible. Well, I've done it so that 2 go through every round, so it would be really embarrassing to get knocked out in the first round. This, I mean, I don't know. Block with the bishop and then develop the knight when they take. Is that a thing? I mean, it may leave this pawn vulnerable, but I'm not overly worried about that. Very confusing here. I think I'm a piece up. But my king's pretty windy. I think I'm a piece up here too, aren't I? Actually, a beautiful opening. I'll just show you the opening here. It's beautiful. Very interesting. In the opening, this happened. Went like this. Takes, takes. e4, knight here. Then you push. They take there. You can't take the knight on c6 because queen takes queen, king takes, then check on f2 wins the rook. So you've got to play this. This is an intermezzo. And now that knight really is hanging. So I took it. Yeah. It's just got to avoid that trick. Took the queens off. Oh, I just got to take back here, right? So close the analysis board. Take the knight. The game goes on, as they say. I don't trust this. What you don't do is take the bishop, the free bishop, right? Because it's mate. Don't take the free bishop. This. Okay, this is my own thing. So before we leave this, we're going to do 2 things. The first is we're going to do one puzzle together. We're going to do one lovely puzzle. Black to move. What would you do? What would you do? So we notice that rook takes, king takes, check wins the queen, don't we? And we think that's too good to be true. What if we reverse the move order? Knight there, queen moves, take. Which is better? Well, if we can win the queen for a rook, that's awesome, right? Win the queen for a rook, win the queen for a rook. Is there anything better? Is there anything better? That knight's also hanging. I think you... Oh, don't bungle it. Don't bungle it. It's wrong! Oh, why is it unrated? Oh, I think... Okay, what's the answer? You'll all be shouting at me the answer. Knight there first. Oh, I looked at that. Why is that better? Okay, so this was bad because king just moves away and then my knight's hanging and my rook's hanging. Chess is such a hard game, isn't it? What I'm not going to do is do a second puzzle to try and, you know, regain my honour. I'm just going to admit I got it wrong. Okay, I think my opponent has already moved. I saw a thing which said my opponent's already moved in one of these games. So we're just going to have a look at that. Look. D4, knight f6. I don't have the heart to play bishop f4. I mean, it's a good move, and lots of the engines at like depth 50 like it. It's a correct move. I used to play it years ago. I had some horrible losses with it, but it's a sensible move. Oh no. This looks bad. Check. I'm having quite a bad day today. Oh no! The queen's taking there. I mean... Should we take a moment? So, if the king in the corner, we lose immediately. King here, we probably lose more slowly. I know this is lost. You can't take that. I mean, maybe I shouldn't resign in haste. King here. I don't think Black's got a chance here. I'm so undeveloped. Black's got no counterplay. I'm not going to kid myself here. We're going to resign this chess game. We're going to say, well played, Nick. I'm not being a wimp. We're going to analyse it. Come on, let's analyse it. We'll see. Let's just see defeat. Let's just... You can just feel it when it's gone. Yeah. Okay, +8. So let's just... Here was already gone. This was bad. Engines are amazing. So this was... It wasn't really, was it? Yeah. Gosh. Okay, so this whole adventure was just a slow journey downhill. That's alright. This was bad though. This started the trouble. Trouble which only increased. Ah, look at that. Oh, I see. You meant to not capture the bishop, but that's very desperate. Who would ever do that? You got to play f3 to try and survive. Thank you for the game, Nick. We've had some wonderful battles over the years, and that wasn't one of them. That was very one-sided. Well played. I'll see you all tomorrow. I hope you're all well.